Hey, it's Amanda Elo'esh, and I'm here with your weekly inspiration. And this week, what I wanted to talk to you about is something that one of my most amazing teachers, Martine Prechtel, calls approach. And for me, in the Living Wisdom School, I talk about relationship and communion. And approach is kind of the beginning of communion with the Holy. And what am I talking about? Approach and communion. Well, for me, communion is about connecting with myself, but mostly with all of the elements that keep me alive, the trees, the birds, all the animals, all the elements that are in my life. As my belief is that all that's sacred, God, Goddess, the holy, divine, the universe, however you want to put it, shows up in all the elements that are in my life. It shows up in me, it shows up in my car, it shows up in my food and the air and the sun and the earth. And when I deepen my relationship with all of these elements and honor them as I would a very important person, a very special guest in my home, as I treat all these elements the way I would a very special guest, then I find that those relationships open up. And I'm blessed in ways that there's no way I could sum it up here. But it's worth it. It's more valuable than any other thing or experience I could imagine having in my life. These relationships with the elements and the holy have saved my life over and over, and they bring joy to me. So the first element of creating that experience of communion or deepening relationship with the holy starts with approach. How do we begin? How do we initiate that interaction with a person or with an element that we want to become more familiar with, or the holy? Well, one way not to do it is to show up with an agenda and a noisy mind and kind of abruptly, if you can imagine, if you're deep into something that you're enjoying and somebody, you may know them well, maybe you don't know them very well, but regardless, they come up to you, kind of grumbling and it's really raw and rough and kind of bumping into you, spilling their drink, making demands, telling you what they want, not asking you how you're doing, not asking you if it's okay that they talk to you, not asking if you have the space to receive them. Usually my response is kind of like, not now, I don't think so, I'm not so interested, and I get a little contracted and I put up some walls. And for me, I think that the holy is a lot more compassionate and is a lot more patient. But I think it's really, really important to start bringing awareness into, if I really want to have a deep, sacred connection with the holy, then starting before I even approach in myself, coming into a quiet place of empty presence, really emptying out of my agendas, really choosing to listen first. Who is this that I'm approaching? What are they all about? What can I sense about this person? And I kind of talked about it. I've talked about it several times in emptying out and attuning and feeling for resonance. And that's basically what approach is. But it also includes asking for permission. May I interact with you right now? This is so great for human relationships as well. Really, really important. I am so much more gracious and generous with my time if somebody calls me on the phone or approaches me in person and says, "Hi, how are you doing? How are you today? What's going on in your life?" And then there's something I'd really like to share with you Do you have the space and the time to listen for 5 minutes or half an hour? And I really love that when I hear that, because to me it means the person who is approaching me and wanting to connect with me respects the fact that I might not have the energy or the bandwidth or the time to give them what they want. And I think so frequently in the way that we go about our business, we have our own agenda and we just put it out there, and it's about trying to get somebody else to comply with our desires. And that's not at all appealing to me. And I think even though the holy can be compassionate with us and patient with us, I find so much greater depth, so much more meaning, so much deeper connection when I remember to honor and respect this relationship that I'm entering into, this interaction that I'm requesting. And again, this works for, human relationships, people we know well, people we don't know well, but it's so, so important to include this consciousness when we approach the holy, in prayer or in meditation, with a request, with a cry for help. To take a moment to stop and empty out of our fears, of our projections, of our agendas, and to simply listen and tune in. What's going on in this moment? Who is this I'm about to talk to? Who is this I'm calling in to help me? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. And then I come from a more peaceful, open space, which creates a more open communion. And again, it's worked with phone calls with people I don't know that well, that person at the library who decides, oh, this person really respects my time. I'm going to help her look up the reference she needs. I'm going to take that extra time to help her out. Or the most recent way that I've applied this that is not new to me is I have a didgeridoo that I play, and I don't play it often enough to just be a maestro at it. And I've realized that it's the sacred instrument. He's a sacred instrument. And when I take a moment to really just sit quietly and to hold the didgeridoo, to hold him against my heart and to feel the resonance with my heartbeat, and then to bring him to my mouth and to breathe into, let him receive my breath and start to tune in. Then when I breathe in and I actually start to play the didgeridoo, it's so much more elegant, it's so much more graceful. The music is more clear, it's easier, it doesn't sound funny, it doesn't sound silly. And it's just such a deeper connection, and it's all about this approach. And I've found the more that I take the time to really slow down and recognize that pretty much every step I take into a home, I'm here in the temple today, at my home, my altar, sacred shrines, or, again, that person at the checkout counter, that person we bump into on the street, the person we want to ask a question of, get some information from, to really drop the agenda first and honor the relationship and ask, is it okay if I make this connection with you right now? Most of the time the answer is going to be yes anyway. But simply taking that time to ask, may I approach, may I engage with you? Do you have spaciousness? Do you have the bandwidth to receive me right now? It creates this beautiful opening that's the beginning of any really deep and lasting relationship. And with the holy, there's nothing we can do that's going to be too much as far as investment and offering. So I put that out there for you today. It's a really deep and vast subject, and I'm realizing that it's just you're getting a little tiny morsel, but the most important piece I invite you to do is just try it out. Next time in any kind of relationship, whether you pray or meditate, ask for help in any way, or have a personal practice, something that brings you clarity, centeredness, a sense of peace, before you just walk right into that experience, take a moment to stop and simply ask, may I have permission to step into this experience? And see how it unfolds for you. See if it's different. And let me know what you find as you practice this. I'm really excited to hear, because it's always brought me greater depth, more understanding, more richness in my life, and I forget all the time. But the more and more I'm surrounded by people that do it, the more often I'm likely to remember myself. So I hope that was a great reminder or a great inspiration for you. I hope it serves you as it served me. And again, if you're not watching this on my website, amandaeloesh.com, I invite you to come on over there and check it out. There's a lot more to see and a lot of goodies there for you. And thanks for dropping by. And again, let me know what you think. That's it for this week. And I'll see you next week. If you like what you see and you want to make sure not to miss out on anything, then sign up for my weekly inspirations. And you'll get them delivered directly to your inbox, and you'll get little bits and pieces and invitations and tasty morsels that I don't offer anywhere else. So until next week, may you remember the magic.